Welcome to VGK Today, a daily podcast providing you an inside look at the Vegas Golden Knights 2025 Stanley Cup playoff run. I'm Justin Russo with the Golden Knights on Monday, May 12th, as we prepare for Game 4 between the Knights and the Oilers coming up tonight in Edmonton at 6:30 Pacific Time. The Knights, of course, are fresh off of their win in Game 3 on a Riley Smith buzzer-beating goal and now look to tie the series 2-2 to reclaim home ice ahead of Game 5. After the break, to help set things up for tonight's game, we welcome Ashali Vise, who takes us through the biggest storylines ahead of puck drop. Well, Knights fans, I'll remind you that there are two official watch parties for Game 4 tonight between the Knights and the Oilers. First one comes at Stadium Swim at Circa Resort and Casino, and the second is over in Henderson at the Water Street Plaza. Both of the parties will begin at 5:30 Pacific Time, 1 hour before the 6:30 start to Game 4. Both watch parties will also feature a DJ, visits from the VGK cast, and raffle prizes including tickets to future Golden Knights games. Giveaways for all fans include VGK sunglasses, rally towels, and more. Over at Stadium Swim, if you wear your VGK gear, you get in for free. I will remind you, though, that it is a 21 and older venue, so take that into account when you're making your plans for tonight. And if you need a more family-friendly option, well, that's where the Water Street Plaza comes in. It is an all-ages venue, and you're encouraged to bring blankets and lawn chairs and sit on the plaza to watch Game 4. Also, Mackenzie River Pizza and the Livery will both be open for food and shopping. So, two great options for a watch party tonight. Pick your favorite and head on down to cheer with your fellow Medieval Maniacs for Game 4 as the Knights battle the Oilers.
Well, happy game day, Justin. If it's anything like Game 3, we are in for a treat. Of course, that one was full of dramatics and heroics, one of which is when Brayden McNabb stepped onto the ice for warm-up and was in the lineup after being injured in Game 2. And perhaps no one benefited from that more than Shea Theodore. And we're going to hear from Theodore on the pregame show tonight on Scripps Sports. But here's a little early bird special for our VGK Today listeners. We'll start with this, Shea. How big of a warrior is your defense partner, Brayden McNabb?
I mean, that explains him to a T. I feel like a lot of times you don't really know what's going on, and it seems like with him you can't really tell. So, it's good to see him, playing as well as he is, and it's awesome to watch.
I know you guys have a lot of depth on the blue line, and everyone feels like they can play with everyone. But what is unique about what he brings, and how does that impact not only the entire group but you personally on a nightly basis?
Yeah, I mean, his physicality is one, but his hockey IQ is next level as well. He's such a good defender, and definitely helps make my job a little bit easier.
What's playoff bonding like on the road when you guys have some time together away from the rink in the same city for a few days?
Yeah, it's good. Getting guys together. We have a lounge at the hotel, so it's always good to hang out there and just kind of enjoy the win last night, especially, and kind of gear up, getting ready for Game 4.
How has the series compared so far to what you expected?
It's exactly what I expected. It's intense. It's definitely physical, and they're a good team. But I think at the same time, when we play the way that we want to, when we're committed to our systems, I think we should like the outcome.
So what will it take? What are the biggest keys to head home with a 2-2 series?
I think just stay on them. We have this thing where we say, play on your toes, and can't really be worried about the end result. So just keep building our game and enjoy the process.
Thanks very much for this, Shea.
Thank you.
And while it was fantastic that Brayden McNabb was able to pull off being in the lineup for Game 3, now there's a question mark surrounding the VGK captain, Mark Stone, who left Game 3 injured. Bruce Cassidy is calling him day-to-day, so we still do not know if he will be in the lineup tonight. But Bruce Cassidy and the Golden Knights discuss what he means to the team and what things might have to look like if the captain is out of the lineup tonight.
I guess we'll start. How is Mark doing today?
He's doing all right. We'll keep him as day-to-day. He wasn't able to finish the game, we know that, so hopefully he's better tomorrow and ready to go.
Last night your group really kind of rallied when Mark left. I guess maybe can you just give us a thought on, if you have to play with him, how much they will kind of rally to try and pick up that slack?
Well, he's a big part of our team, and, we weren't sure on McNabb. It was the same thing. They want to, push through to give guys opportunity to get healthy and help us. We're a tight-knit group. I think most teams this time of the year are. They're still playing, and those guys have been together a while. They've been through a lot. They've won together, lost together a little bit. So that certainly factors in that they want to give him every chance to rejoin the team, and we're hoping that'll be tomorrow. We'll see. So that's their mentality.
He provides so much more than just on the ice, I guess. How much do you miss if he's not around?
Well, listen, he is an emotional leader, but we have other guys that, that's our team. I think there's a lot of that in the room. Other guys can pick up that part of it. It's hard to replace what he does on the ice, but we've got lots of good players and guys that have been in and out of the lineup, so we'll see different guys step up. And I think it sounds like a cliche, but it happens this time of year where that's it. It's a hand you're dealt if that's what happens, and I think our guys understand that, and good professional group, and do what's required in the moment.
You were able to get the win last night, but as a coach, when you're losing your captain during a game, is it adding to the challenge because you're also losing an important voice on the bench?
Yeah, but I think in the moment you just play. You just play, and we listen. It's 2-0. We got to get going and sort of put the brakes on what they're doing and get back to our game. So it was a big goal by Nick Waugh. We were able to create a turnover in the neutral zone and get going the other way, and so that kind of quieted things down. And now we can settle in and play, and because it got loud in there, and sometimes that can get to teams, and but for us, we've been through it a little bit. So and in this building too, so we got back on our feet, and we would have liked to see him come back. That didn't happen, but you can't worry about that. I don't think anybody's sort of saying, hey, it's don't, you know what I mean? You just hope to see him walk back down the tunnel. It didn't happen, so you just keep pushing. Other guys, like I said, Riley Smith's the right winger, got a little more opportunity, took advantage of it.
It's nothing new. A team is always dealing with injuries. But what's going to be the challenge if you're playing without your captain, Mark Stone?
You just got to keep playing. That's what we did last night. He went into the dressing room and we just kept playing. It's not easy, when Stone is not out there, but the guys, started to play extra hard for him.
What does he bring when he is out there, though? It's more than just skill. Like, he's such a leader in other facets, I'm assuming.
Yeah, he's a leader, smart player. He's probably the smartest guy out there in the league. And, I've been playing with him pretty much the whole season, and, it's just been a pleasure to be on the left side from him. Smart player, plays the right way, just a good leader for our team.
Brayden, I was going to ask you about, the emotional, not letdown, but the emotional of losing your captain after first period, and how you guys kind of rallied around that, and how you may have to do that if he can't go tomorrow.
Yeah, he's obviously a big part of our team, no doubt. We did a great job rallying. We tied the game up pretty quick there, so that was a big part of the game for sure. Take the momentum away. Hopefully he can go tomorrow. If not, we'll have guys step up. It's cliche, but it's next man up, and everyone's got a job to do.
What does he bring to your group, both on and off the ice?
It brings a lot. It brings, he's captain for a reason. Emotional leader. He does a lot of things on the ice that a lot of guys can't do. He's a big part of the power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5, everything. So, yeah, he's a big part, but, we got guys who can step up if need be.
Well, everyone trying to be their own version of a warrior this time in the postseason. You, of course, heard from Brayden McNabb at the end there. He himself had to fight through some injury trouble after Game 2, suited up for Game 3, and ended up making a key play on the game winner. But everyone battling through something right now, and that, of course, includes Captain Mark Stone. As Ashali said, don't know the official status yet. Depending on when you're listening this today, if it's after morning skate and we have some more clarity, then perhaps Bruce Cassidy will have already given us an update. But as of the recording of this, as we sit here, no official update on Mark Stone early in the morning of Game 4. We'll hope that he plays, but unsure right now. We'll step aside once more, and when we come back, we'll recap Sunday's Stanley Cup playoff action. Well, Golden Knights fans, the Knights' win in Game 3 means that they will be back for a Game 5 in Las Vegas at the Fortress as they continue their battle with the Edmonton Oilers. So if you want to check out Game 5, head on over to VegasGoldenKnights.com for tickets to watch the Knights in action. Also a reminder that you can check out the official VGK mobile app because it's the easiest way to keep up with the team. Plus, fans with the app will have a chance to win tickets to select playoff games. Download it today for Apple or Android. So before we wrap things up on today's show, let's recap Sunday's Stanley Cup playoff action. And we start from Dallas, where the Stars and the Jets meet in Game 3, series tied at 1. In the first period, Rope Hintz got the scoring started for Dallas for a 1-0 lead. Kyle Connor answered for the Jets at 9:53 of the opening frame, and then 6 minutes later, Thomas Harley responded once again for Dallas for a 2-1 Stars lead after 1. Nino Niederreiter had the lone goal of the second period to give us a 2-2 tie into the third, and here is where the drama began. Alex Petrovic at the side of the net deflected the puck toward Connor Hellebuck, who then propelled it into his own goal. And I used my words very wisely there because the semantics of this discussion was very important in what resulted in an 8-minute review in this game. So essentially, to paint the picture, again, Alex Petrovic at the side of the net deflects the puck toward the net, toward Connor Hellebuck. He doesn't distinctly kick it. That's what the officials decided on. And then as it comes to Connor Hellebuck, it's not already going into the net. It's parallel to the goal line. Hellebuck moving over with his stick kind of just propels it in. It's not a play where Hellebuck doesn't see it and it just happens to go off of him. It's more so he is moving his stick over toward the goal line to whack it away behind the net, and inadvertently puts it into his own net. Now, this caused a lot of discussion and a lot of digging in the rule book. And while we all know that a distinct kicking motion leads to no goal in the NHL, you can't kick the puck in, there is a subset of the rule that says a kicked puck that deflects off the body of any player of either team, including the goalkeeper, shall be ruled no goal. So, if you're watching the play in real time and you're a Jets fan, you think, okay, the puck was kicked, it went off of Connor Hellebuck, it went in, that's no goal. Now, the issue, as Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman describes it, is that the officials didn't feel it was a kicked puck. They felt it was a directed puck, and that's where these terms start to come in. You have to be very careful with your words. And he goes on to say that the other thing they feel is that Hellebuck doesn't deflect it into the net, he propels it into the net. So even if the puck was kicked toward Hellebuck, they felt that it wasn't deflected in by chance, it was propelled in by Connor, which is why they decided to count it. So that led to, again, a lengthy review, a lot of discussion online, and it ends up standing, and it ends up giving Dallas a 3-2 lead early in the third period, a lead that they would go to build on. Mikko Rantanen scoring less than a minute after that review ended, his 9th of the postseason. Wyatt Johnston went at another for good measure, and the Stars win 5-2 on home ice to take a 2-1 series lead. Lots of discussion coming from that one. You never really know what you're going to get in the Stanley Cup playoffs. One night it is a buzzer-beating goal by Riley Smith, and the next we are having an 8-minute review to determine such words as deflected and kicked and propelled and directed. Lots going on in the Stanley Cup playoffs, as you would expect this time of year. Okay, moving on to the second game now. The Florida Panthers facing the Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto, of course, won the first 2 games in Toronto. Florida won Game 3 in overtime on a Brad Marchand goal and was looking to tie the series, and they did just that. Carter Verhaeghe scored in the first period on the power play for Florida. That gave the Cats a 1-0 lead, and it wouldn't be until the third period until we got our next goal in this one, and it was another goal by Florida, Sam Bennett's 5th of the postseason, to give them a 2-0 lead and a 2-0 victory in this one. And the shots were heavily in favor of the Florida Panthers in the first 40 minutes of this game, outshooting the Toronto Maple Leafs 29-12, and it was even worse at some instances before we got to the end of the second period, as the Maple Leafs were in single digits for a lot of that middle frame. Now, a big reason that the Maple Leafs were in that spot to begin with was their discipline. They took 4 minor penalties in the first period, and the Panthers just had a ton of time on the power play. You contrast that with the second, and even though the Maple Leafs had 3 power plays of their own, they only had 8 shots in the second period, and they could not score a goal. Now, at the end of this game, there was also some tempers flaring as Max Domi took a boarding penalty against Alexander Barkov at the final whistle. That led to a scrum, and that led to 3 misconducts, 2 for the Panthers to Aaron Ekblad and Brad Marchand, and 1 to Toronto's Bobby McCann. So certainly going to be interesting to see as we move toward Game 5 how that might affect things and how tempers might continue to flare in this series, but something to keep an eye on as we move back to Toronto in this series with things tied at 2. Alongside the Golden Knights tonight, there will be, of course, another game out east, and that will come between the Washington Capitals and the Carolina Hurricanes. That one is the game before the Golden Knights and Oilers tonight. That's a 4 p.m. puck drop, also on TNT, so check that one out if you want your hockey fix before the VGK get into action. Hurricanes currently with a 2-1 lead in that series, and at home looking to take a 3-1 lead heading back for Game 5. All right, so a solid recap of what happened on Sunday, and hopefully you are well prepared for what is to come tonight between the Knights and the Oilers. Big thank you to Ashali Vise for joining us today, and that'll just about wrap things up. So thank you as always for tuning into VGK Today. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe on your preferred podcast platform, as we'll be back every day throughout the Knights' 2025 Stanley Cup playoff run. Stay tuned tomorrow as Dan and Gary are back to recap Game 4 between the Knights and the Oilers. Justin Russo signing off for VGK Today.